good afternoon, and thanks for coming for the session. And a little bit introduction of myself. I am Dhiyaneshwaran. I'm coming from Coimbatore, from Tamil Nadu. And this talk is about Nuclei Template and extensive usage. So have you heard about the company Project Discovery, Nuclei, Katana, Subfinder? Like, you can raise your hand. Have you used Nuclei before? Cool. So I work as an application security researcher in Project Discovery. And before that, I worked in Deloitte, Ireland, and worked with Paytm and Safe Security and Crossbow Labs. I come with 4 years of experience, and I've been doing bug hunting since 2018. Yep, so there is not much slides here, like only 10 slides will be there. We'll be covering about different protocols of Nuclei and how to write templates for different protocols. And I will showcase some unique templates today and how to contribute to the project that we are building on. And there will be a live demo, and post live demo, I'll be showing first time in public about Nuclei Cloud that we have been building for a long time. So basically, I wanted the session to be a more interactive session. So whoever used Nuclei, what kind of vulnerabilities you people get? Is it like a network vulnerability or a web vulnerability or SSL vulnerability? Like, anyone can raise up and tell. Anyone? Like, is it like a web request or a network request? I just wanted to have a clarity. Anyone? Web. Why web? You people were not aware there were other protocols, or is it due to the area that you are focused on?
No, so I work as an AppSec engineer.
Okay. Web-based.
I was not looking to scan any for any vulnerability, but instead I was evaluating Nuclei to bring in as a task.
Nice. So Nuclei do supports different types of protocols. The protocols such as HTTP protocols, the web-related vulnerabilities, and headless is it's like a protocol attribute where you can try to use the Chromium browser to find vulnerabilities on DOM-based XSS or something related to that. There is another protocol called network protocol, and it is now renamed to TCP protocol. So I will just show those changes as well. And there is a DNS protocol and file protocol and web sockets and SSL. So let's go to the Nuclei template repository and have a look how the protocol structure got changed. So you can see if you are using older version of Nuclei in the last release, so in the latest release, it is gonna be a file structure named DNS, file-based, headless, HTTP, network, and SSL. So before that, it was misconfiguration folder, vulnerabilities folder, and OSINT folder. But all these comes under HTTP folder now. So you will be able to see CVEs, fuzzing, and different related stuff. Okay. So anyone know about Nuclei template, or everyone is fresher here? Not. Most of them are beginner. So I will start from basics. So Nuclei is a vulnerability scanner, basically, whomever very beginner to this field and vulnerability researching or security automation. It's like a scanner similar to Burr, but it's in a CLI version. And templates is something like a signatures that you write to detect a vulnerability. Let's take an example. You found a path called .robot.txt, and it contains like a content type text/plain, and these keywords will be present. You will be able to write a template for this. So I will show you a sample template, how it looks like. So basically, if you write a C programming language, there will be syntax for it. But if you want to write a Nuclei template for it, you will there be a specific syntax for it, which is called an information block, which contains ID field, name field, author, severity, description, and optional fields are like metadata and tags. If you want to write a basic template, there are like 3 fields needed. One is info, name, author, and the severity block. So this is called the informational block. Yep, this is a basic basic YAML file to detect a git config misconfiguration. So this basically checks if there is a file path named .git/config, and it looks for the common keyword called core, and it will check whether if it doesn't have any, it contains any HTML or body and the status code. So this is how a basic HTTP protocol Nuclei template looks like. There are like different complex protocol involves, like if you perform authentication bypass, or you want to do an authenticated scan, there will be additional helpers will be integrated into this. So this is just a basic template, and if you want to see complex. Yep, this is a complex template. When you intercept any burp request in burp suite, you see post request, host, and content type, and other informational blocks. You can even convert those raw requests into a template. You just have to use the keyword raw and paste the request one by one, depending upon the chain of the vulnerability. So here we are like choosing a path called whatever. It's like a random path. And we are trying to do a path traversal and upload a shell file over it. So whenever you write a template or using any write function, it should be like something random name. So we are using a helper called rand str. Basically, we'll generate a random string so that the shell file will not be disclosed publicly to anyone. So and then we try to send a post request to that particular rand string and match for the keywords if it is like present. Basically the etc/password will have the, I think it's ID. Yep. So the command ID will have the UID, GUID, group ID name. So we will be able to see what is in the output. And using extractors, it will display what are the values are printed in the group and UID. So I will show you a small demo on my own server on a particular vulnerability, how a template execution happens in backend, and how to route the traffic through burp suite and see the traffic. So this is my server. 206.129. So this is my vulnerable WordPress server running on Docker, and it is like we are going to exploit a vulnerability. One second. So we are going to exploit a SSR of vulnerability on this WordPress server and see how the Nuclei template sends the request and do the matching in this out of bound vulnerability. So I'll just paste the comment. So -u means the target URL that you're gonna attack or hack or try to identify the vulnerability or check the vulnerability. And ID is something, if you are writing a template, you can give -t flag. If the template is already present in the public repository of Nuclei templates, you can specify the ID. And -vv means it will print the metadata name of the template file. And we are going to use debug flag to see how the request goes to the server and how the server responds and how the SSR of randomly generated out of an URL gets generated in intra.sh. So ignore this part. So here it sends a GET request to this particular endpoint, and it automatically generates intra.sh URL and see which request gets matched. So before going to this, I will just cat. So this is the template basically. Before seeing the output, it will be very easy to understand how the template works. So here you can see it. There is the intra.sh URL, which is like a dynamic URL which gets generated. It's like a burp collaborator, like you might have seen in burp suite, right? It where you check for out of band interaction on a particular parameter. So this interacts URL automatically generated in the Nuclei server itself. And it will be used on these 3 requests on 3 different paths. If this path gets matched on the first request itself, it will be stopped. So we are using a helper call, stop at first match. And then it will check. So in Burp Collaborator, you see 2 kinds of interaction or 3 kinds of interaction. One is like HTTP interaction, DNS interaction. Sometimes if you're testing on SMTP sites, it will show SMTP interactions. So currently, Nuclei supports all these types, including LDAP and JNDI as well. So we are looking for HTTP interaction from the server. And the response body, if someone hits this URL, the body of the response should contain a keyword called null. And the response header should contain a content type as application/JSON and the status code 200. So if I'm using only one of these matches, it will be like a false positive. Because when you keep the status code 200 and there are like 1 lakh websites you're scanning, all the websites status code will be 200. So it is a false positive. So main use of matcher is to have a strict matcher. You can have like 2 matchers, 3 matchers. I would recommend like have a 3 matcher, 1 for status code, 1 for content type, 1 for word matcher in the response body. So you have to create a condition, 3 things should match, then only like you have to show me this vulnerability is getting detected. So that there will be a less false positive and there will be a real vulnerability that you're going to reevaluate. So when we run this template, it matched on one of the requests. It sent a request to this particular endpoint tree.php, and the response body had a keyword null, and the content type is like application/JSON, and there is a HTTP interaction, so it is showing HTTP. Yep, that's it. So this is how to run a template and how to check for false positive, and try to understand like what goes in background. If you want to route the traffic to burp suite, you can just use a flag called proxy, and burp suite runs on like local host, or you can, if you have your VPS, you can route your traffic to VPS and specify the port of the burp suite. Okay, burp suite is not. Yep. You should be able to see the traffic in burp history. Like you can see how the request sends through burp suite. So there are like 3 requests sent. You can see first request null, second request null, and third request null. Because this is a vulnerable setup, so all the 3 endpoints will be like vulnerable. And you can even see the content type and other stuffs here. Yep. So do anyone have doubt like how to run against a URL, how to see what happens in background? You can raise a hand, I can like show more demos. Yep.
So I can use the collaborative model as well instead of using the Nuclei server.
No. Yeah, because good question. Because there is a code written in Nuclei to check intra-SSH protocol. If you see here, so this only supports an intra-SSH. If you have your own intra-SSH server, like a client server, we do have 2 projects, intra-SSH server and client. You can set up your own domain name on that, and you can specify as a -server token. If you do Nuclei -h, you will see like huge number of details how to use it. You can see -i server. You can specify your own self-hosted server. So in project discovery, we maintain around like 4 to 5 servers just to public to use and detect these vulnerabilities. Yep. Any other questions? Yep.
This was an unauthenticated SSL.
Yeah.
How do we go about configuring a template for authenticated issues?
Sure.
Or any, not only SSL, but
Any authenticated issues?
that attacker should be authenticated and then go about exploiting server.
Yep.
So as I was saying, this is the unauthenticated server issue.
Yep.
How do we go about configuring Nuclei templates for authenticated attacks?
Authenticated attacks. It's a good question. Like many people not aware like Nuclei can do a authenticated scan. So there is a quick search on GitHub. Just go to Nuclei Templates. I'm just showing the template first, and then I will show you a CLI command line, and I will set up a vulnerable instance if there is a plugin, and then I can show you that. Search for authenticated. Let's search for WordPress. You asked for SSRF, right? Okay.
Not necessary
Okay. I think I can show this. So this vulnerability is an authenticated vulnerability. So it is fixed on this version 2.1.18th version. So we are going to download a lower version of this and try to install it in our WordPress server and then try to do authenticated accesses. So WordPress, when you go and click on download, it will download the latest version. So people who are unaware, like how to download a WordPress version of a older version, try to set up locally, and there is no CVE or like there is no public exploit, but you are like somehow able to find a vulnerability and create template. You can try to use this. Click on advanced option, go down, scroll down. 2.1.8. So I'm going to download 2.1.7. I download. Go to plugins. Add. Upload. Choose. So we just have to activate the plugin. So once it's activated, if you are unsure, you have installed latest version or older version, you can just scroll down to the plugin. Multi-currency. So here it shows there is a newer version available. So you have installed 2.1.7, but the latest version is 2.1.29. So this is a vulnerably configured plugin on a vulnerable environment. So we are going to do a authenticated exercise on this and check if it is vulnerable or not. So -u, the target URL. Before that, we'll see the template. I hope this is visible. So here you might notice something different here called username and password. So in CLI, we can set up a variable and pass this username and password so that it uses a helper called cookie reuse. So the first request will generate a cookie and it automatically supply the cookie to the next request and reuse the cookie and trigger the vulnerability. So here it triggers script alert 1 and it looks for a WC report and the payload, and it also looks for the text/HTML and status code is 200. So let's run and see. So the ID of the template is curry XSS, and we will do a debug request and debug response as well. Okay, username is not specified, sorry. So we have to specify the username using the variable. You can use capital V or VAR as a variable, and username pdteam -var password. Even you can give it in double quotes. If the password is something like very special characters and the CLI is breaking it, you can use double quotes. Oh, I think I messed up. Oh. Search for. maybe the plugin is not vulnerable. So here you can see, right, when we send the username and password, here it got supplied and it did a 302 redirect, and the cookie generated in the first request got replaced into the second request, and it sent the request. So this is how an authenticated scan works. Not sure. It didn't detect. Yep, any more questions on authenticated scanning? Yeah?
So the headless mode is built over Selenium.
Yeah.
So can you tell me one practical uses of the headless mode? Like you said, DOM-based.
Yep.
So like you said, DOM-based instance. How will Nuclei find a DOM-based situation where it can't even see the response? So
Okay. Sure. I will show you an example. I will just show you the template, but I don't have a target to test on right now. But I can show you a template like how it works, headless mode. Are you able to like see it? I think I'll take a different example. Yeah. Yep. This is a DOM-based firing on one of this URL. I think this is Google's challenge app spot. So basically, there is a function called code we recently implemented into Nuclei, where you can paste any of the JavaScript code, which any code like Python or PowerShell or JavaScript or anything, and you can put the code into the code block. And if you're planning to trigger, if your matcher is like something to trigger or look for the particular word in the response in the code, you can use the code argument here. So action is like script. Basically, you're running a script and you're giving a name for that particular script. It's called alert. And in the argument, like you're looking for this in the DOM environment, like windows.alert is like executing in the Selenium web browser or not. So those kind of attacks are like normally not detected on Nuclei. So we introduced a feature called headless so that the DOM environment variable gets detected.
Okay, so basically we are fetching the environmental variable from the headless.
Yep. Yep.
So is that possible? Like how we are doing it? How we are doing it?
So
We are pasting the code here. I understood that. But let's say a headless Chrome is running, and we are basically manipulating the payload and setting our code there.
okay.
So how are we getting the response? Like there is no response, right?
Yeah. So it is getting from the console itself. Like when you do a DOM-based exercise, you check it on dev console.
Console.
Yeah. So it's similar to that. You're checking it on the code level. The code level.
The console of the
Yeah.
instances.
Correct. You're getting it right.
Yeah.
It's not on the response. It's on the code level that you debug.
Okay.
Cool. That's what like in the matcher it is mentioned sync. So this syncs you check it on the Chrome level. If you're planning to, you find a vulnerability in your project where HTTP authentication is implemented, you can hard code this it in the template and run the template. That you can do. Anything else, or should we move forward to the next slide?
So the project you mentioned Proxify, does it also works on network level? Like can we perform declarations through network?
A network level protocols like
Yeah, let's say not HTTP, but
yeah, different protocols as well.
we can
Yep, yep.
So like we, example would be, for example, we are trying to hack some gates. So
Ah.
it's constantly updating the positions and everything.
Yep.
We want to intercept it and modify it and
Yep.
send it to the server. We can do that.
I think let me show you. It only like does HTTP and HTTPS, but if you're planning to capture network level traffic, there is a tool called network fingerprint. I'll be showcasing it in network slides. So people are like aware of how the template looks, how to run the template, right? So we can move to other protocols. So HTTP I've covered. Headless is something not included in the slide, but network, DNS and file-based protocol I will be taking it. So network request starts with network block or TCP block. So let me show. God, it's not possible. Yep. So you can see this is a very basic network template. So network template starts with TCP block. If you have noticed in HTTP request, it might be started in HTTP block. In headless, it is started with headless block. So the rest of the things are like same as like other template syntax. You can specify the host. Host name means it will take the IP or the domain, and host name is it's both are like same. There is no first stop match functionality in network template. So that is the one disadvantage like in network template. So it is going to get implemented soon. So any idea like can someone tell like what this template does? It is something related to manual pen testing when you do a NC to a port 22 and do a banner grabbing of the output. So this template does the same work. You can write detection templates, backdoor templates, even eternal blue templates. So basically, people might have used Metasploit, right? So what script like basically you people use in eternal brew? Like you prefer Python scripts or using Metasploit? Python scripts, Perl scripts, Ruby scripts. Metasploit is written in Ruby, so people mostly like beginners use eternal blue to exploit like from Metasploit. So you can even write templates for eternal blue in Nuclei. So there is an open PR. I will show you how complex it looks like. So this is a basic template for a network detection. So here in right side you see you do a netcat to port 22 and you have a banner grabbing. So there are like 100 or 1 lakh of IPs or subdomains. You cannot like simply fingerprint it. Like you don't know like whether the port 22 is open or not, or you wanted to do check only for this particular version and this is version is vulnerable to this vulnerability. So you can write a Nuclei template for that. So this is how the basic template looks. So I will just showcase what happens in backend of a network template. Nuclei -u. So you don't have to specify a URL schema. URL schema is something, anybody know what is URL schema? Can someone tell me?
So basically, HTTP, HTTPS, we are the method we are using at the protocol.
Yeah, exactly. So for running network templates, you don't need a URL schema basically. You can just have a list of IPs in your TXT file or a target file and then try to run the template. -u and -id, open SSH detect. So it detected my own server. It's like having an open port 22. So you want to see what happens in backend. Give debug. If you give debug, it will show everything like what happens in backend. It sends a particular hex data and it tries to connect to that particular port, and the port responds with this particular keyword open SSH, and then it checks for the template whether this keyword is present in the template or not, and then it try to show the vulnerability, like this particular template is like having this open SSH enabled. So this is just a basic template.
Why is it trying to include other templates?
So this is so this output, right? This chunk of output. So if you're familiar with the project, we have a file called Nuclei Ignore. So I will go to maybe I can show it in the folder. So when you yep. So you see here the tags which contain fuzz or DOS are by default scan. It is like not run in the default scan. If you wanted to run fuzz templates, you have to specify a tag -tags and then fuzz. And you wanted to run DOS template, you have to mention the DOS. And some of the templates are like by default ignored while running the scan. While loading the scan, when you use debug, it prints out what are like could not run. Even in the error message, you can see. Yep. The template was excluded. So this is the excluded file we provide to the user. People can edit the file and make it run the DOS templates, because DOS is something like very aggressive, and some of the templates might delete the file on the server, which is like not a part of the scope. You should not delete a config file in a vulnerability. So there is a sound equal vulnerability which deletes the user's DB file, and the site completely goes down. So there is a template for it. So we don't want blindly to run users all these templates at once. Fuzzing templates generates around 200 requests per template. If you send default rate limit is like 150. So if you try to run first template in a default go, it will be sending huge traffic. It will create noise basically. That's why we have a nuclei ignore file.
But here we are trying to run it in a network mode, right? So we are not doing fuzzing. So why by default it is loading some
Yeah. By default, if you don't have a .ignore file, if I delete that file, it will show it could not be found. It will run actually. So this is just a safety precaution which comes with Nuclei template. You can edit the file, try to modify the file. What and all templates you wanted to run, what and all not to run.
So you had some configuration there, that's why
This is default configuration set by us. Because some of the templates were, some of them were like false positive, we found out, but there is an edge case where there is no content type in a template, but the XSS payload and status code is there. Something like that. So you can see the following templates have been excluded. They have weak matcher and generate false positive result. Feel free to create a PR if you can update the template with strict matchers. So this is something we don't want to show false positive result in people who run our tool. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, I will show eternal blue. So this is not merged yet. It is in draft. I'm showing it just for a reference. So since we are like a open source team, we are like open for adding new features and new helpers. And if you wanted to have a template for a CV, it is not there in public repo, but you have a POC but not able to generate template or create template, feel free to raise an issue. So this is some issue raised internally. We made a whole restructure to work on network. So this is a quite complex. You see only like, you don't even understand like what is this. It's like a data which goes in a hex format. This is also a hex format. So it's totally, there is no proper documentation for this, but you can like try to raise an issue in GitHub, ask for a future, like ask for this template, like this unpacking library is not there, DSL library is not there. So something like that you can do. So I will show you how to fingerprint network traffic and see how the hex data looks like, how you can write a template for this. Yep, this is a very detailed blog, how to black box approach to capture the network traffic and generate template. I will just show you the project name. It's called Network Fingerprint. It was started very long back, like 2 years back when we were writing the first network template, we were facing issues. So I will just run it on my local system and I have a Dockerized environment MongoDB. When I try to use MongoDB UI and connect to my local database, how the traffic flows in between the UI and the port and how the handshake happens, how the hex data happens at backend. So I will show you that. So it is started on locally on port 127.0.0.1 on port 27017. It's a MongoDB port. So I'm listening on the port. When some tools, UI tools or any traffic trying to hit this port, the hex data will be shown in the display here. So I will just use Mongo Compass, try to hit this port and see if it works. Or you can use like Mongo shell as well. Both of them. Oh, when I just clicked on connect, you can see how the hex data hex data flows through the network. So basically, here you can see the version, and here you can see the session timeout and other handshakes. So what we did, what the template to write for this? Any idea? Anyone? So basically we just have to use this hex data in the template and look for this particular matcher or logical session timeout, and that's it.
Can you do the same thing for outbound traffic?
Come again?
Can you do the same thing for outbound traffic?
Yeah, you can do it, but this traffic sometimes for the different MongoDB version, this hex value gets differentiated. So even the multi-request, the hex value gets differentiated. So we have to find a unique string in this. So it's like a deep process.
No,
Even you can do this. You can have this hex value and look any of these highlighted keywords in the response. That you can do. I'm straightly going to the second keyword so that there is like a unique match. If you put version keyword, there are multiple ports which throws version. If you wanted to have version keyword, have a MongoDB compass keyword as well. Since I connected to UI, MongoDB compass it's something. It's just a UI keyword, but morely it's related to logical timeout, and these keywords are like related to MongoDB. So there is a template for it. I will just show you.
actually I was asking about outbound traffic. Can you, for example, you showed
Yep.
using Nuclei for inbound traffic. So I was saying that can you do the same for outbound traffic on a destination?
Yeah.
Like this code number you mentioned is global code.
Yeah.
So for example, we are trying to connect to a remote port and we want to pick up the data.
Remote port in the sense like from this port to another port you want to route the traffic, or
In this example, someone in your network is connecting to your local instance to this port, and you are fingerprinting the traffic, and you are running a local server.
correct. So let's take an example. There is an IP in Shodan. I wanted to capture the traffic of that particular IP on this port.
No, we are basically initiating the connection.
Okay.
So we want to see what
You want to receive. I think receiving part is not there in this tool. This is only for inbound traffic, I would say. Locally, like if you set up your own vulnerable environment, it can like read both inbound and outbound. But from outside, it cannot do. Because this is the inbound data, like this is the X value and this will be the response mostly. Maybe I can show you a template, be more clarified.
even if you are setting it locally, that is also how, like you showed an example of inbound traffic. Let's say there are two computers, and I want to detect the traffic which is going from my computer to your destination.
Maybe this cannot do, I guess. Maybe I have not tried in this case, but mostly setting up a vulnerable environment, it have worked. So hex data, we are sending it, and we are reading the output of the hex data. Maybe the complex template might do. Maybe SCVE. So this is the body input we are sending in hex format, and there's another data, and it reads the output of the input. Cool. Yep, this is for the network template, and the next for a DNS template. So DNS template starts with DNS block, and it also has matching, extracting, and other things. So this is just a basic template which checks for DNS record, name server records detection, and this is a command line command for Mac. It differs for other operating systems. Yeah, so here we send a FQDN keyword. So before that you might have seen base URL. Base URL means like a target URL. So there are like, if you are like not aware of these DNS names, you can straightly head over to our documentation website, nuclear.projectdiscovery.io, go to templating guide, click on DNS, you will see A record, CNAME, and other keywords, FQN, which can be used in a template. So this is a dummy template created by Marco. So he sent a FQN request and look for the CNAME and A records. Yeah. DNS is like what you perform in terminal related to DNS query, how you send the DNS query. So any question on this part? Okay. So this is a file protocol. This is something I have been working on last month. We were able to push around 100 templates in a single month using file-based and HTTP-based. So in Bug Bounty Bytes, they showed about regex, right? So main part, like main thing plays in file templates like regex and binary. So this people might aware that is code search. So this is a normal template to detect Google API key present in all extensions of files. So from this attack vector, like what do you think of, like which category like it comes under? Pen testing, source code review, or fuzzing? You can use Nuclei templates to do source code review basically. You can write checks to regex and find vulnerabilities using it. So here this is a regex to find Google Map API key, Google API key, and then show it in the response. You can even use to request a self-contained template, extract the API keys, reuse it in the next request, and then
Just give me a minute. Whose car is this? MS14GY6612. Yours?
yep. You can reuse the request in the next request and then try to check whether the API key is valid or not. So that is going to come in the next release. So anyone interested in writing a template and everyone have a GitHub account here, right? So I'm just going to write a new template right now and then raise a PR to the project and show you how to contribute to our project. So if you are like not sure, someone asked me a question. Many people are saying write a custom template, so that you can get huge bounty. So I will show you a small real-time example before writing the template. So this is a short story. This will be an interesting story. I was working in safe security 2 years back. We were doing a red teaming engagement, and the scope was around 3,000 domains, and the 1 month duration, without getting detected, we have to exploit and get an access. So we were testing a product, and after many attempts, we were like fed up with all the login panels, no credentials work, and I was trying something different, option method. So option method, there is no output, just 200 status code. My reaction was like, send the same GET request, it was showing something. So I removed the login.jsp and put a test here, and an option method, it displayed, there were like 4 different options: option, mlock, put, and lock. I know put method, option method, this is something new, these two. So then I figured out there was a old PPT, 2012 PPT, they mentioned that you can do an XXE on a lock method enabled. And I don't know how to test a lock method, so I just put, instead of options, I just replaced lock. There is an XML data in the output which shows web dev enable. So then we tried to frame normal XXE payload and try to check the entities. And we got a call back, and it was a sweet XXE after like 1 week. So the challenge is we have to test this XXE manually on 2000 asserts with out of bound interaction and find whether they are like vulnerable or not. So you can see like we exploited around we created this template in 2021. So the name of the login panel is like hidden. So we looked for this. The template is very poor. We didn't use regex. We just used Word, and there were just 2 status code, like 500 and this. So we exploited around like 36 XXE on the product, and we were able to get backup files, production files, and SSH keys, SSH into different servers. So it was good. So the custom template is something when you find unique during your testing or the methodology or trick that you know and no one knows and it is not in public. So this is something no one knows, and I created a template and I can scan it at a scale. If you are scanning around like millions of subdomains, you have to do a distributed scanning using Axiom or Shadow Clone, some other tools which does distribution. So this is how a manual, like where to write a custom template. So any doubt on custom template before writing a template? Understood? Like any doubts? Done? Cool. This is basically a file scanning tool they developed, and the best part of Nuclei Template is like you can port a Bob Suit plugin into a template, you can port a Python script into a template, you can port anything into a template. Like you can write templates for malware detection, OSINT, fuzzing, file scanning, headless, network related vulnerabilities, a lot. So here they have given a example key, it's a postman key, and this template is not there in public. So I just wrote a template in the morning, like what are the blocks here? We have an informational block, the severity block, and where the template we took from reference, and whether it is like verified or not. If you find the stack verified true in our repository, so all those templates are like verified by the team, and there is no like false positive on the template. Even if it is false positive, like it will be get fixed, because we do have a vulnerable environment tested on this template before getting it public. So it looks for this particular regex on the body, and it looks for all extensions. It can be Perl, Ruby, Python, or anything. So there is another thing in this regex is all our projects are written in Go. So you have to write a regex which is compatible in Go. So there are like different kinds of regex. If you go to regex 101, you can see flavors here. So the regex expressions get vary to different programming language of the tool it's been used. So we are going to save this file. So I've saved it in a YAML file here, and I do have a test.txt file which contains a sample API key from the project. To run it, like just echo the text file and use nuclear and the template file name -vb. So it will only extract the Postman API key from the file and try to display. When we use extractor, basically it will display the results and output. So that's the main use of extractor. Even you can write the template, HTTP template for it. Can anyone like say the syntax, just 1 or 2 words you have to change in this line? Can anyone try? Maybe I can show a sample. We just have to have request, method, path, and that's it. It will be a same template. We just have to, okay, let's take a copy. So we will change the tags to keys, tokens, API key, exposure. We just change this file extension to, this will be HTTP request, the attribute, and this base URL will be just the domain name which contains URL schema, and that's it. So when you write a template, if you face any issues, you should know how to validate the template locally. So I will just show you how to validate. Desktop. So I've saved a template. Before, when you write a template, after saving, first thing you have to do is like validate, -t, -validate. So here you can see like it shows all templates validated successfully. This is only for this specific template. I'm going to make an error in this template, just adding a single quote or comma after the body, and show you how it runs. Oh, it should not be the case. Okay, let's remove the path. Yep. So here, okay, it's not visible. So here you can see in line 19, could not find expected colon. So when we like from the community, when we review the PR, we see a lot of YAML lint and some of the special characters getting missed in the template. So best way is to like validate it locally before making a PR. So I wrote these two templates. So we are going to raise get a pull request. So this is the project. People who are like very new to the project wanted to raise a pull request. Go to the project, click on fork. It will create a copy of the project in main branch. So just give a couple of minutes to like fork it, and it shows like the branch is up to date. So now we have to create it in HTTP directory. Go to this, go down, exposure, APIs, files, configs, tokens. It's a Postman token. So we are going to create a folder, Postman, create new, Postman, and paste the file name here, and I'll just keep it Postman token now. Okay. Postman key. So this file name and the ID name should be same. Yep. Commit changes. Whenever you try to create a pull request, create it in a branch. Click on new branch. It means like you are trying to create a new branch here. So I'm going to mention it like SB meetup and propose the changes. And before making any like if you are finding any critical vulnerability, and try to scan it on your assert list before making it public, because people are like monitoring our template repository like very keenly. If any mistakes or like you are accidentally disclosing something, make sure like you're not doing such stuff. Propose changes. And if you wanted to add more templates, you can add it going to the same branch. Go here, you here like see SP branch. So there are like two branches here, main branch and SB meetup. Click on SB meetup, go down. Now we are going to add it into file, the different protocol one. Go to keys. So there is no file structure for this. You can create a file. Go to Postman API key. Postman key. Yep. So this will get, these changes will be reflecting on SB meetup branch. So here the name is different. Postman API key, there is Postman keys. So that there will be no clash in while running by ID flag. So click on commit. Commit directly into SP meetup branch. Commit changes. Yep. So we have to show that we are contributing to the public project. So we are going to create a pull request. We call it as like a PR. Compare and pull request. So now you can see it is creating a pull request on Nuclei Template repository, the main repository. So if you don't want us to not make changes, you can untick it. If you want us to like correct some changes, your template is like little bit clumsy and messy, you can click on allow maintenance, create pull request, and that's it. Like if you go to GitHub at a repository, you will be able to see this pull request, and these two templates are like public right now. If you wanted to scan, you can scan this. So there is one more thing I want to showcase is like what happens after creating a PR. What does the team do in background? I'll just show. Yep, this is a recent CV reversed by our teammates, and I will show you like what happens when community people raise a PR. So you see in left side, in right side, reviewer is Sandeep, Pasan is Ritik, and in public side, you people won't be able to see template team project. So there are like multiple steps happen. I hope this is visible. First stage is like pre-D triage team. We first look at your template and see whether it is eligible or not. Second, we do a non-tech validation, see whether the information is present or not. And we do a tech validation, and then we do a target validation by setting up the entire vulnerable environment and try to replicate the template over the environment. And we mark it for ready for review so that one of the other teammate will review. So there are like, this is the section, like we put the notes and others. This is not the one. Yep, so here we mentioned the notes section about if there is any comments or vulnerability details or vulnerable setup instructions and etc. Yep, this is what happens in background. People are like not aware, like when you raise a PR, like it's not just your effort, like there is another effort from team to make it to public. Yeah. Yep, these are the references. If you are like very new to template, we do have a YouTube channel. It showcases how to write your first template, what is matcher, and other stuffs. So these are the video playlists we currently have. We are currently in the next release. We will have a video for matcher section to technically walk through what are the types of matcher are there and how to use them effectively. Yep. Do anyone have any questions? Anything related to template or any of our other projects?
So I wanted to ask, like, if there are like two templates to different contributors, they are having two templates with similar matches, similar state matches.
Okay.
Their IDs are different. So while we are reviewing, do you like consider both templates, or like what is the guideline for?
So there is one contributor with one vulnerability and another contributor also same vulnerability.
Same vulnerabilities, but templates wise some matches are different.
So we will try to convert them into a single template and add author, like both of them will have the author name.
So you have guidelines for documentation, like first contributor, how to specifically design the template.
Yes, we do have, I guess. No, I'm not sure. I think this is something I can ask the team, like how to do template contribution. Cool.
And also, like, if you have a doc, like new CV and you have just POC for that, and you want to convert it into a template, then you have some protocols and that you will create some matches. So how do you decide what kind of matches do you give to create for that kind of POC?
Sure. Yeah, so I can show you a real scenario last week. So there were like three to four CV got released. So I will just, so this, I think this was very famous CV. But I thought not Shubs. Shubs dropped a tweet on 6:45 a.m. and I woke up and see like 15 minutes back, there was a tweet, there is a new vulnerability in place. So he clearly mentioned two things. You can observe there is a payload here and there is a screenshot also here. So we just took both of things. So the payload getting reflected, so that will be a one matcher. That is another matcher here called invalid web call ID. So we just combined both, and status code is also 400. So we added the status code here. In certain cases, if there is no POC, then we have to reverse and find a POC for that. That's the only way. Yep, this is how like we wrote template, mostly from blogs. So this template, Chopper's RC, which came like 4 to 5 days back. So there was this blog by WView. So the username is handle, he reverses CVs for Metasploit. So he clearly mentioned how to do patch def, and he also mentioned how the request will look like and what are the things we have to send. And there was a public contribution. This template was created from public contribution. So mostly from blogs we take. Another way is This is something I wrote about long back. People who are struggling to write template. I was reading a blog on Docker. I saw this is the request, and I know this is the matcher and response, and I write a Nuclei template for this. So when you have the data from reading something, you can just convert those into template. Another way is like from tweets. I saw a tweet where you saw this is the request and response, and this was the tweet. It had a common keyword admin, and you are like able to do it. If you are like more confused, or don't know where to go and search, you can try to check Google Docs and Valhub. You will get an environment based on Docker, and awesome CV POC will keeps on updating new POCs. And if you wanted to scan it across the scale, you can use this search engine to at least fingerprint what are the versions like available. So there are like 4. There is one more called built with website. So it is also good. Recently I was using it. You can use Vaporizer as well. So this is a website. There was a recent POC for cPanel, right? For XSS, which was affecting around like 1.4 million websites. I don't know the historical DNS data of it. I just have to go to built with and see what are the top website users built with, see if they have a bug bounty program or not, and try to scan it. So this is something you can do. So if you have no questions, I can show you a little bit demo of Nuclei Cloud. We have not showcased in anywhere to public users, or only inside the company we have just shown it. Do you have any questions related to template before moving? No?
Like, do you have any tags for giving references or credits in template?
Yep. We do have a tag. So mostly tags are given like author keyword, or else we give it in the reference field. So this is what we do mostly. Let's take an example. If you are the one who is trying to contribute to the project, your name will be there in the YAML file. It's not like the initial founder of the vulnerability. Credits will be given in the reference only. Let's take an example. So they were showing AEM dispatcher and bug bounty bytes, right? So this is something I wrote for many of the AEM vulnerabilities. Yep. So this is something we converted a burp suit plugin into a template. We took the reference from these slides. Angel, if you know this username Angel, this is the person who created AEM hacker, and we saw these slides, and we got some idea from this particular burp suit extension. And in burp suit extension also works similar to Nuclei. It checks for request and what is the response and some status code in it. Yep, it do have the main thing between the burp suit plugin and YAML template is like you cannot. It is very hard to code in Java if you are like a beginner. In YAML templates like easily humanly readable, so that syntax is like request means like this base URL. Matcher is like you have to look for this keyword. Status code is like 200. Very common and easy, like user friendly. People who don't know programming language can easily adapt to this. Yep. Anything else? That's it. Okay, I will show you Nuclei Cloud. Yeah, so if anyone working any big enterprise companies can raise a hand. Big enterprise or any companies. So this is specifically currently for enterprise editions that we have launched. It's on waiting list. So the things that you see in CLI version will be in a UI based. not only scanning, monitoring, port scanning, file scanning, DNS scanning, continuous monitoring, and premium templates as well. If there is any CV for a new vulnerability, you will be having a first early access as well. So this is the early joining website, and I will just play a small video how the platform looks like, how the UI looks like. So this is the UI. You just have to click on to remediation and see the remediation steps and see the severity, and you can try to add a new assert or to monitoring and etc. So this is the UI edition. It will be getting launched by mid of this year, maybe in few months. You can write templates inside it and scan it across all your asserts. So the main thing is, if you are having a assert around 1 lakh or 1 million subdomains, what is the scan duration you get? Like 3 days, 1 week. Here in Nuclei Cloud, it spins up 100 plus instance at the same time and do a distributed scanning so that it gets completed in minutes. So that's the best part of Nuclei Cloud. So I will show you a small Nuclei Cloud scan results, how much time it took. So it is public in the repository. If you do nuclei-h, you will see this list of help options. So public users might notify that in last 4 to 5 release we have added these cloud options where you can, this is a API key given to the subscribed users. They can integrate into the CI/CD pipelines for scanning or to any of their automation tools for scanning. So I have already configured this API key locally in the terminal. So I will just use -lsn to see how the scans have been like done in the previous stage. So it took like one template is around one target for a default scan. I mean like 5,845 templates in like 2 minutes. So these 5,000 templates generate around more than like 10,000, like 50,000 requests to the target. So if you run one target on all templates, it might take like 10 to 15 minutes to complete the entire scan. So the scan duration gets reduced. So here you notice like there is around like 2 lakh subdomains, and the scan took around like 2 hours to, I think 20 lakhs, I guess. Yeah, 20 lakh subdomains, 2 hours to like get finished. So I will show you how to view the results of this scan. So before that, I will just give a small CLI explanation. What are these? So whenever there is a new scan get initiated, it shows ID, timestamp. It creates a timestamp when the time gets started. Target is like what target you're loading. This is a custom template or Nuclei template from the public repository. Matched means like something there is a vulnerability detected or something the results getting detected. Duration of the scan and what is the status of the scan. So I will view some of these results and show you like how long it took, how the results get stored in cloud. So I will take this ID, maybe this, Nuclei Cloud -LSO. This is the flag to display the output, and you just have to specify the ID and it will display the scan output results. Okay, I have to install the bytecode version. gets completed. So there are like multiple stuffs going on. There is a cloud debug. So there are like different branches which contains the fixes for each bug. So I am just using the output branch which which displays the output of it. So you can see the output results of the domains like which got scanned, which I supplied. So these domains are like bug bounty programs. So there is no way that I'm violating the policy. Yeah, so this is how the results gets displayed. If you are initiating a scan, let's take an example, -cloud -u, let's take an example, hackerone.com. Okay, I'll just use. So here you can see there is a scan ID 752, and it's the scan runs on cloud even if your internet gets disrupted or getting cutted. It will be like the results will be, the scans keeps on running in the background only in the cloud environment with the task ID that is created. If you have to stop and delete the scan, it's only like done only via the CLI option. Yep, this is how you have to run a Nuclei cloud scan. That's it. Any doubt on this? Any questions on Nuclei cloud? I think it is almost done now. We are just waiting for the bugs to get fixed, so it will be available. If you have like more questions and want to know more about Nuclei cloud, you can just visit the website. So this is how it looks when the full version 3 gets released. So we are aiming to release Nuclei cloud on version 3, version 3.0.1 basically. Yep. This is how the dashboard looks, and yeah, that's it.
For CLI tool, is it like only tag should be used? Like, what is the Nuclei tool only?
Yeah, -cloud, and you should have the API key basically. So this will be a subscription based model. So it's done. Yep. Thank you so much.
So, yeah, thanks, Dhiyaneshwaran. Any questions, like not only related to the stock, anything related to bug bounty or any other platform, application security, you can ask us. We are here. So, just feel free. This is an open platform. Just don't be silent. After this, we'll be having a bug bounty talk only.
Yeah.
But if you have any questions, anything in your mind, feel free to share here. We'll help you. Any questions? So, anybody here? कोणी कोणाला ओळखत नाही, फ्री राहा, कोण काय म्हणेल विचार करू नका.
So are you trying to release
Of Nuclei cloud? So it will be only for like certain users who are like joining the waiting list. It will be open for everyone as well, for enterprise as well, but currently it is only focused on the enterprise customers.
what are the limitations for general public users?
General limitations is like, general users feedback what I've heard is like scan time is very high. They have like millions of subdomains, but they cannot do proper distribution. So if they know how to do proper distribution, it will be same like Nuclei cloud. You know Nuclei, right? Nuclei, HackerOne. So he is running like 100 different instances for running scans. So he also reached out to for Nuclei cloud. So this is how.
Just like time saving.
Time saving. Even today's new Eric is also using distribution scanning. Doxing is also distribution scanning. The main distribution scanning is like if you have proper recon data of proper setup, it's like running automation scans only.
Basic is like the bug bounty issue and everyone, general guys are doing, it's like of intermediate level. This is of next level, where
Like lot of top hunters, so they do automation for subdomain takeover, and this like if there is a new CV coming up, you just have that account authority, you can just start reporting.
Basically, like I have seen that they automate everything. Like
Yeah.
automate the reports.
Yep. Even I can show you my blog 3 years back when Subfinder got released actually. So this is called Recon with me. If you have seen this blog somewhere, I'm the one who written it. So this is a proper setup for a proper bug bounty automation. Why automation is needed in Recon? Chances of duplicate is less. You will be focused on more domains. So this you can do manual pen testing when you automated this small task. So this is a Go metrics detected at 3:55 p.m. 3:59 p.m. I reported there is no duplicate. This domain just came up in the internet. So you are the first person to go and test it. This is the biggest thing that you can do to save time.
For one, that is the main thing. The players are scanning the internet every second. That is why they get more wanted, because they get access to the new targets as they come there. So, okay, any other questions, anybody? Feel free to ask. So shall we go ahead with the session and conclude the other session? So what we'll do is we'll just quickly start on quiz. Volunteers, so anybody here who is not in the group, WhatsApp group? Yeah, volunteers can just help this guys. Just raise your hands. And parallelly, if anyone is having any questions related to nuclei or anything, bug bounty or anything, we are here, just let us know clearly.
Yeah, if you are like struggling to get in touch with us, just join the Discord server. You can scan this, join our server. We are there to help you out in creation, anything related to bug bounty or project discovery tools.
And I would like to thank Dhiyaneshwaran for coming from, he came from Chennai. Yeah, thanks for the talk and everything.
Yeah, so Nidad, I know Nidad since 2018, back when I started bug bounty hunting, and his growth is really going good. So happy to see him. Yeah.
So yeah, any other questions, anybody? So shall we start with the quiz? What is it? Gift would be, you can pick up any one pen tester lab voucher or try any voucher. So whoever wins top 2 guys will be sharing the voucher with them.
If you have listened to the session, if you have watched the session carefully, the flags that I've used, those are the things in puzzle. So
I know most of the guys will be giving cases only. So it's now 5.